All right. Another day is here, and we're going to start. Today is day five, actually, day five of week one, and super excited about what we've been able to achieve over the past 4 days. And today we're going to continue our build. If this is your first time coming across the stream, we are building AI enabled products in a week. Like, you choose a product and we build it in a week. And today is day five of week one. And in the past 4 days, what we have done is we've gone from having no idea to coming up with the idea, what we really want to build, then building the idea. Yesterday's stream, we're able to make the product functional and we tested it. It looks or works great. So today we want to get into refining it a bit and testing it even more to make sure that it's indeed working pretty well. That is our goal for today. So let's start our servers. Yes, for the idea that we're working on, basically building a French language learning application. And the goal was to build some sort of interactive or immersive language learning application. So most language learning applications do not really work the way that we humans learn languages. Like, if you would be truthful to yourself, unless if you went to school to learn a language, but if you have any other language that you learned not through a formal setting, you realize that learning was immersive. Like, you were in the midst of the people. And oh, hi Vibe. Yeah, so building, like, this week I'm building a language learning application, and let me open that. Ooh. Yeah, these are just fun projects that we're working on. So basically, as I was saying, if you've learned any languages, at least I have learned two local languages where I didn't have to go to school for it. And even with that, I can read. I may not be able to write much on my own, but then I can read those languages. However, these are not languages that I went to school to learn or sit down to read. I basically just heard people speak it, like be in the midst of the people who are speaking it. So that sort of immersive approach was how I learned that language. So wanting to learn French, in fact, I've been to school, I think since basic three, I've been learning French in one way or the other. So there are some basic French vocabulary that I understand. However, when somebody starts speaking French, like, man, I don't know a thing. If you wrote it down for me to make sense out of what you're saying, I'll probably understand what you're saying. But then if they start speaking it all together, it becomes really difficult for me to understand. So, as a pet project, my goal is to build something that I can basically use to learn French. Basically, that is the idea that we're working on. And over the past 4 days, we've built this. Currently, it is functional. Let's test it out. So, today's conversation, let's say we want to start a session with, say, work meeting. Let's assume that and start session. Test the microphone. Yeah, that works great. So start this. Alors, mon ami, ça va?
Ça va bien, merci. Mais n'oublie pas, pour la réunion, dans un cadre on doit parler du budget. Tu as pu regarder les chiffres?
Yeah, so it works, but hey, I'm struggling. As soon as you start speaking, I'm struggling. So that's where I really want to get to use the app to learn how to speak French. It's more like the idea is having a friend that you are learning French with, but this friend speaks French, understands English as well, and is going to help you. You can basically prompt it to say the thing in English if you want it. So, oh no, no. So, Vibe App, to respond to your question, this is not like an app for sales, just showing the process of building from nothing to hosting an application. So not really looking for users or anything. And besides, I saw that this is an idea that I would, something that I personally would use. So not really looking to sell the product. Okay. So let's try one more time. Hi, Camille. Very. I understand very basic French, so don't dump all the French on me. Let's start from very basic.
Salut? Pas de problème, on y va doucement. Imagine, tu es dans un café et tu veux commander un café. Qu'est-ce que
Do,
tu dis?
wait, do you know what? Maybe you speak one line of French, you translate it to English. At least for now, let's start from there.
D'accord, je comprends. On peut faire ça. Alors, pour commencer, disons bonjour, un café s'il vous plaît. That means hello, a coffee please. Tu essayes de répéter?
Bonjour, un café s'il vous plaît.
Parfait, c'est très bien. Maintenant, si tu veux payer, tu peux dire l'addition s'il vous plaît. That's the bill please. Tu veux essayer?
So the bill is l'addition. Is that it?
C'est exactement ça. L'addition means the bill.
But
Tu prononces
that
très bien.
looks like
Maintenant, on
addition.
essaye de demander le menu.
That looks
Le
like
menu, s'il vous plaît.
addition. Wait, that
That's
looks like
the menu,
addition
please.
in English. So why is that the bill?
Oui, c'est vrai, ça ressemble à addition. En français, on utilise l'addition parce que ça représente le total de ce que tu as consommé, la somme à payer. C'est comme
Ooh,
le résultat du calcul. Tu vois?
yeah, yeah. Bon.
Super. On continue avec comment payer. Tu veux demander par carte ou en espèces? Pas de problème. Je vais parler plus lentement. Tu veux payer comment? Par carte, by card, ou en espèces, in cash?
Mm.
D'accord.
Pacat.
En espèces.
Yeah. So that's. I feel that so far it's doing a great job trying to come to my level. I can ask it in English. Like I didn't know the bill is actually l'addition, and l'addition to me feels like the addition. So when I inquired why is the bill called the addition, like the English version being the addition, and he's saying, oh, because it seemed as the sum of all the costs. And it makes sense. So now at least I remember if I ever went to a restaurant, I remember that okay, to say the bill, you say it as like the summation of everything. So l'addition. Good. Yeah. So hopefully that's going to help me learn French. But the one extra feature that we wanted to add before we wrap up is to get like some sort of review of how we're speaking the French as well, so that it's not just the speaking, but then we run some form of diagnostic on it. And that is one of the things that we wanted to implement. But now we can see the conversation transcript. So everything that you said. So see, I said, hi, Camille. I understand very basic French. So don't dump all the French on me. Let's start from very basic. That's what I said. Then it responded, salut, pas de problème. On, oh my goodness. uh, on va doucement. Interesting. Yeah. So I have to take my time to learn, but it's been fun building this, and I'm glad that I get it like this, especially seeing the transcript. At least I believe that starting this would basically be good, like starting from where speaking and seeing the transcripts, because as I tell you, it's very difficult to follow when they are speaking. But then with a transcript, I can understand some things, right? So if I immerse myself in it for some time, let's say the same scenario, if I play out the same scenario several times, eventually I would be able to understand exactly what they're saying in that scenario. So, for instance, if you are ordering food in a cafe, how do you go about it? Let's say that's particular scenario. If I do this over and over and over again, eventually I would understand and be able to order food in a cafe. Okay, so let's go ahead and implement the diagnostic. And note that the constraint here is we're using AI to do the build. And I'm just showing you how you think through some of these things in real time when you're building something like that. So basically, the tools that we're using right now, we're using Cursor, and Cursor is this interface that I'm using. And the good thing is now they have a browser in there, pretty sleek, so you can test everything out. And the framework, this is a web-based product, so it's using the full stack framework called Nest.js. Nest.js is what I'm using, and yeah, I think we've hosted this actually online. If you go to, let's see, go to Vessel. All right, there, Camille. I think it's Camille hyphen beta dot Vessel dot app. So you can see I complained about this yesterday, but it's fine for as long as I'm not necessarily looking to go sell it. The goal is just to get something that is functional for now. So, like learning with a friend, not a textbook. The friend who lived in Lyon for 6 years switches to English to explain. Yeah, so basically, that's what we're trying to do. So, let's go back and we're going to prompt this, check the implementation. So those of you who are not following from the beginning, let me just give you a quick overview of the approach we use so that you understand where we are from. Let's go to our notebook. This is our notebook. Okay, let me create a new page. Use A4 size. Okay, so basically, we started off trying to. Oh, I my pen is not showing. Still not working. Hold on, guys. Let me plug this in. Okay, good. Yeah, so we came up with the idea. Then we explored all the things that we need based on that idea. Like, what are the features that we need in here? Then, once we got the idea, we did come up with a product requirement document that describes the products that we want. So, whatever problem it is, we're going to solve it with this idea that we have. And in our case, it was a learning French. Most of the apps are not designed for the way I actually learn languages. So, I want something that helps me learn languages the way that I learn languages. Right. Then we went ahead to come up with a PRD. Then based on the PRD, we use Claude Design. We use Claude Design to design the UI. So that was basically a prototype that we designed. Then once we had gotten the prototype, we realized there were a couple of things that we wanted. So we refined that prototype until we had something that looks like what we currently have, which is what we're looking for. Then we now refined our PRD. So based on the prototype, we refined our PRD, product requirements document, right? We refined that. Then we converted the refined PRD into, hold on, refined that and converted the refined PRD into an implementation document. Implement, sorry, implementation. So an implementation document, and in that document we have all the tasks that needs to be completed for the product to be ready. Description of what ready really means, right? And we are tracking the tasks as we complete them. So basically, what I'm going to do right now is check the implementation document and ensure it aligns with where we are now and identify the things that we are yet to implement. My goal is to take a stab at the diagnostic one. I haven't really seen an application where, like, French or language learning application where they have that diagnostic component. So it would be pretty cool to see how that comes out. So the way we handle that is every interaction that we have with the AI that is helping us learn is actually being stored. Like, we are storing all the audio recording. And I know that's probably not the most efficient thing because, I mean, this can be huge records if somebody is speaking for hours on the app. But the goal is so that we can run the diagnostic on how the person is speaking and understand how to, I mean, give the person feedback on how they speak the language. Ideally, it would have been so cool if it was real time. When you speak, it gives you that feedback. But that would also disturb the flow of learning. Like, you don't in fact, it's very annoying, especially those of you who learned how to speak English. It's very annoying if you start speaking English with someone and the person is correcting you at every single thing that you say. But it would be so cool after a 16 session that you have done for the person to now give you feedback and say, here is what you could have improved, or here is what where you were struggling with this thing, right? So that is how we want to implement it. All right, the bottom line is you're on track for dog food v0, practice loop, live test plus optional voice, then full transcript persistence for learner plus Camel, session audio, scenarios. The largest honest gap is versus the written plan is M3. That's the raw scoring. Yeah. So that's what we are looking at. Okay. So we just say now we can proceed with that because it now understands where we are. So proceed with the implementation. Okay.
No time, we go shine. Big dream, we dey grind. Go hard, we no tire. Start a fire, we go rise. I dare
It's
small,
really
I be
fun
big
building
tall.
some of these things.
Protester, no fear at all.
It's
Everywhere we
Friday
go
night.
standing in now. What time we know they complain if time starts
It's
now.
really funny.
Now,
Like,
now, now, now. Hands
sometimes
up,
you're just so
we no
stressed up,
proud.
but
Energy they rise.
the
Get out,
ability to build these things, like,
no
for
time.
me,
We go shine, we go shine.
is definitely
Start up green, we dey climb.
one of the things that gives me rest. Like, trying to play with things. Okay. So searching online for the Azure Space part. That reminds me, yesterday we also tried using Google AI Studio to build something similar. So aistudio.google.com. Let's go to apps. Parlons français. Okay, setting up what we built yesterday. And for those of you who didn't see yesterday's stream, I said currently, especially if you just want a prototype or something for you to solve your own problem, where you're not necessarily thinking about going to production with it and getting users, but something that would solve your own problem. One of the fastest way to do that is actually using the Google AI Studio. And the good thing is that you get it for free, unlike most other platforms. So you can basically prototype what you want, refine it over time, and once you're ready, you can actually publish it and start using it. It's pretty cool. So this is what yesterday we prompted it and it brought this up. Let's try it once more to see what this looks like. Bonjour, enchanté. Je m'appelle Obed, je suis très bien. Et vous? Je vais très bien. Oh, okay. So I get okay. So the one thing is that oh, je vais très bien. J'habite à Toronto. Oui, j'aime beaucoup Toronto. Oui, j'aime Toronto. Oui, j'aime Toronto. Oui, j'aime beaucoup Toronto. Anyway, so this is pretty cool. I mean, we basically did this in like less than 10 minutes. So you can see that's pretty cool. And the good thing, as I said, if you're using the Google AI Studio, it is basically free to use, and you can basically prototype anything that you want. Now, what I don't like about it is the fact that it mentions asterisk. It keeps reading out asterisks, which makes it bad when listening to it. I don't even know how to describe it. But yeah, makes it, let's say, unnatural. Unnatural when listening. Is there a way to improve that? So the goal with, I mean, based on the initial prompts with this one, it's like having a video call with a friend who is helping you learn French. So usually they'll say something in French and then translate it if they needed to, or ask you to repeat after them. Then they would listen to what you say. But the challenge that I'm seeing right now is when I speak it, the AI doesn't necessarily hear what I say. When I speak it, it auto transcribe what I said, then send that to the AI. So even if I said it's the right way, but the transcription got it wrong, then it assumes that I didn't say it the right way. So I would probably use this to tell it the problem. Hi. So I can see that this product has some sort of a problem in that when I speak my portion, the AI doesn't necessarily hear what I am saying, but then the transcript that is sent to it. For that reason, even if I said the right thing, but the transcript got it wrong, it assumes that I didn't say the right thing and it keeps beating me about it. Is there a way to implement it such that it actually gets the audio that I say? I wonder what is going to implement for that to happen. Yep. Let's see.
No time, we go shine. Big dream, we dey grind. Go hard, we no tire. Start a fire, we go rise. Idea small, but the plan be tall. We go test that, no fear at all. Every fail, we go stand again. Now, what time we know they complain if plans cast now. Now. Hands up, let me build. I'm proud. Energy they rise, we dey loud. No time, we go shine, we go shine. Start up dream, we dey climb, we dey climb. No time, we no tire. Start a fire, we go higher, we go higher, we go higher.
Okay, when I hear that sound, I know that the other one is done.
No fear at all. Every fail we go stand
I'm
again.
curious what it's implemented. I have implemented a significant upgrade to how Amelie hears Amelie. I hope that's how it's pronounced. Hears and understands you. Instead of relying solely on the browser's text transcription, which can be inaccurate, especially for language learners, the app now records your actual voice and sends the audio data directly to Gemini's native audio engine. So direct audio understanding. Gemini now hears your pronunciation and tone. If you say something correctly but the browser transcribes it poorly, Gemini will likely understand your intent from the audio and no longer penalize you for transcription errors. Echo suppression. I've added a 1 second silence period after Amelia finishes speaking. This prevents her from hearing her own voice through your speakers and accidentally starting a conversation with herself. Okay. Natural voice. The tutor system instructions now strictly forbid markdown or asterisks, and I've added a text cleaning layer to ensure the voice synthesizer only reads spoken words. The U indicator in your video preview now features a dynamic wave. All right, let's test it and see. Enchanté, Amélie. Moi, je m'appelle Obed. Je suis très bien. Et vous? Euh, Je viens du Ghana. Je viens du Ghana. Bon, oui, je parle anglais. Euh, Parce que je travaille au Canada. Je travaille au Toronto. Mm. Je ne comprends. I'm, I'm a software engineer. How do you say that in French? Hi, Amelia. Hi, Amelie. Can you hear me? Mm. I think the delay part is not the problem, but it's getting better. Like, could basically have that conversation, and so it was going well. It's going pretty well. Let's say here's what was implemented: run diagnostic for session, loads finalized audio. Okay, same rules as before. Local, the this. Okay, sure. Then parallel course. What I'm looking out for is okay, yep. So if I need to set some environment variables, says default pronunciation strategy, the default is Gemini Flash multimodal on audio plus WebM plus reference test. Optional if Azure speech key plus Azure speech region are set, and the blob is a wave container with audio wave. Grammar, vocabulary, aggregate score. Okay. What you need to run, I have this already. And a Gemini diagnostic model, optional. Optional as well only matters when merge session audio is waived. Today's pipeline is okay. All right, so it means for now I don't really need to set anything. Let's test it to see if the diagnostic part will work. Diagnostic not yet available. Let's go back to summary, go back to history. Let's click this to see not available. It says diagnostic not available. Let's see that.
Time we know they complain. Time starts now. Now. Hands up, make we build up proud. Energy they rise, we they loud. Now what time we know they complain. Time starts now. We go tire, we tire. Start a fire. We go higher, we go higher, we go higher. Experiment, experiment.
Let's switch to this other one and test it to see what happens if you want to publish it. Never really published anything.
No time, we go shine. Start a dream. Dream, oh, we decline. No
Your app will be accessible via public link. Okay.
we go rise. Ideas small, but the plan be tall.
My prayer, the app uses Gemini API, but no project associated with your Gemini API key.
We know they complain.
So I need to set one. This project does not have billing enabled.
Energy they rise, we they loud.
No. Okay. So it means if you want to publish it, you have to create a project and set billing. Setting a billing account basically means you have to add a card to AI Studio. And the reason I'm saying no, because I don't want to add a card to my AI Studio now, is I don't know what happened that someone got access to an API key from my account and only God knows. Like they just rigged some cost in that account. I appealed to Google several times and they said no. There's no way to justify that I wasn't the one who used it. So basically I have to pay that cost. And in fact, at earlier I didn't want to I wasn't thinking about paying it because it was a huge cost, like a little over $800. I'm like, I haven't used this thing and I have to pay the price of over $800. That's huge. So I guess I didn't have a choice. I later had to pay because my Google account is important to me and I needed access to it because they had blocked it. So now I have disabled all the API keys that I have in there and I only generate them as and when I need. And I don't want to add any billing account to it anymore. I don't want Google to go and rake up any cost in that account because I'm not using it. But I also don't understand how the person had access to it. And in fact, some funny things have been happening. I'm yet to interpret it. Like since that time, every single time I check the analytics, I see that there's still usage. Like this doesn't make sense because I have deleted all the API keys. So yeah, Google, I don't know what's happening in the AI studio. I've deleted all the API keys, but I still see daily usage. And I don't know if my use of anti-gravity is actually going there. I doubt. Even anti-gravity, I use a different account. Come to think about it, I use a different Gmail account. So I'm still wondering exactly what is happening. Like, why are we getting usage even after I have deleted all the API keys? It makes me worried because if some records of analytics is being recorded even when I have deleted all my API key. Then there's a possibility that as soon as I add an API key, as soon as I add an API key, there's that possibility that this thing catches on and it starts raking in some extra costs that I am not in a position to pay. Not at all. Costs that I know nothing about. Why must I be the one paying? Google, why? So I'm not doing that. All right. So now we are implementing a run diagnostic and we will test that out to see. If you get a functional part, I would be very excited. Okay, so let's try this. Just click run and see. No diagnostic results yet. All right, no problem. Let's start a new conversation. Conversation. Ce nouveau conversation. Ooh. Salut.
Coucou, comment ça va aujourd'hui? Prêt pour une petite conversation en français?
Oui, je vais très bien. Et toi?
Moi, ça va super, merci. Qu'est-ce que tu as prévu de faire ce week-end?
Hmm, de, de rien. I don't even know what to say. How do you say nothing? Like I don't have anything planned.
Pas de problème. Tu peux dire je n'ai rien de prévu ou alors rien de spécial. Tu veux essayer de répéter?
Wait, what does I understand J is I, ne rien means like you don't have anything, but they preview. What does preview mean?
Ah, prévu veut dire planned en anglais. Donc, je n'ai rien de
Hmm.
prévu signifie I don't have anything planned. Ça te va? Tu essayes de dire la phrase?
Je n'ai rien de prévu.
Parfait, c'est ça. Donc, pour revenir à notre conversation, même si tu n'as rien de spécial de prévu, il y a peut-être un film que tu aimerais regarder ou un livre que tu veux lire?
Hmm, only yeah,
Ah,
I'll be
super!
reading a book.
Quel genre de livre est-ce que tu aimes lire? Plutôt des romans?
Qu'est-ce que tu lis
des
en ce moment?
biographies?
C'est
Autre
quel
chose?
genre?
Un roman? Un policier?
No, none of the
Ce n'est rien.
above.
D'accord. C'est un livre d'histoire, peut-être? Ou une biographie? Ou quelque chose d'autre encore?
Coding or programming or machine learning. How do you say that in French? Like I'm struggling.
Ah, je comprends. Tu peux dire je lis un livre sur la programmation ou alors sur l'apprentissage automatique. C'est l'équivalent de machine learning. Tu veux essayer de prononcer un des deux?
C'est la programmation.
C'est ça? Et sur l'apprentissage automatique, ça te va aussi?
Sous l'apprentissage automatique. So that's machine learning.
Exactement. C'est le terme français pour machine learning. Tu vois, tu progresses bien. T'as d'autres projets pour le week-end?
Oui, c'est programmation projet.
Un projet de programmation, cool. Sur quel type de projet tu travailles? Quelque chose de personnel ou pour le travail?
Non, des personnels.
Un projet personnel, c'est bien.
Oui.
Ça te permet d'apprendre et de créer quelque chose par toi-même. Bon courage pour ça. On change de sujet. Tu as vu de bons films récemment?
No, I haven't got time. How do you say that in French?
Pas de problème. Tu peux dire je n'ai pas eu le temps. Tu veux essayer de le répéter?
Je n'ai pas le temps.
Presque. C'est je n'ai pas eu le temps. Le son U est un peu différent en français. Tu veux réessayer?
Je n'ai pas eu le temps.
Magnifique, c'est ça? Bon, on arrive à la fin de notre conversation pour l'instant. T'as bien parlé en tout cas. On continue de plus tard?
Oui.
Super. Alors bonne fin de journée, bon courage pour ton projet et à très vite.
Non, je ne comprends.
Tu ne comprends pas? Qu'est-ce qui n'est pas clair? Dis-moi ce que tu veux que j'explique.
Expliquer. Euh,
J'ai dit bonne fin de journée, bon courage pour ton projet et à très vite. Je te souhaitais une bonne fin de journée, de la motivation pour coder et
wait,
que l'on se reparlerait bientôt. C'est
wait,
plus clair
wait,
maintenant?
wait. Let's speak English first. What are you trying to say? Because you've said a lot of French and I'm struggling.
No problem. Let's pause in English. I was just saying, have a good day, good luck with your coding project, and talk to you soon. I was just wrapping up our chat. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Ready to try saying goodbye in French again?
Yes.
Great. Ready to try
Super.
saying that last part
Ready
back in
to say
French? Goodbye in French then? You could say à la prochaine or au revoir.
Au revoir. Adieu.
Au revoir, c'est parfait. Adieu, ça, c'est vraiment pour plus dramatique, tu sais, quand tu penses ne plus revoir quelqu'un. On reste sur au revoir. À la prochaine.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. À bientôt.
Okay. All right. So now we got that. Let's run the diagnostic. This is how I feel. It will force me to learn the language because this person is just speaking French and saying things and like, what are you saying? All my friends that I know is missing. I'm looking at the words that you're speaking and I can see one or two, but then they're missing. We need to have a good interface for this. How can you show this? Say this is Spanish. La programación. De la programación. Wait. Oh, no, no, no. I mean, it would be difficult to read this. So we need a user-friendly interface for the diagnostic reports. Let's send that and hopefully it's refined this into something usable. Overall score, I got 45. Interesting. Adieu is grammatically correct, implies a very final goodbye. Often, forever. For everyday goodbyes, au revoir is more common and appropriate. Interesting. To say I don't have time, the correct French phrase is je n'ai pas le temps. Je n'ai pas le temps. Ce n'est pas en le temps. Je n'ai pas le temps. I don't have time. Je n'ai pas le temps. A more natural way is it's a programming project would be c'est un projet de programmation or c'est de la programmation pour un projet. C'est un projet programmation. I want the transformed interface. Yep. But I love the products that we have. This is what we set out to build, and I'm glad that we have something that is functional right from beginning to end. And basically everything that we've done is free. Like, can you imagine? Like, in this day and age, you can get things that you want, build things that you want. So yeah, back in the day, it was so difficult to build software that people would build like software for average use cases, right? But where we're getting to a point where you can basically build what you need. So if you need a specific software, you can just go ahead and build it. And that is definitely awesome. Really. Okay, so Casual small talk. This is the diagnostic. 44 out of 100. That is bad. That is complete failure. Blend of pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary. Open each tab for concrete feedback you can act on. So, accuracy, fluency, completeness. This is transcript only, no merged session recording. The learner demonstrates a foundational understanding of basic French greetings and phrases such as salut, oui, and au revoir, and can correctly form some complex sentences like je ne pas au le temps. However, there is significant reliance on English and Spanish. I don't even know Spanish when expressing more complex ideas or when struggling to find the correct French words or structures. This frequent code switching and hesitation indicates a need to build confidence and expand vocabulary and grammatical structures in French. Specific areas for improvement include distinguishing French from Spanish vocabulary, example, programmation versus programmation, and mastering common idiomatic expression. Je n'ai pas le temps for I don't have time. Je n'ai pas le temps. So these are some of the phrases de la programmation. Oh, so this programmation, how do you pronounce de la programación? This is Spanish. In French, it would be la programación. A feminine noun, no de, unless part of a specific construction. La programación. Then, sous la précision. Oh, that's not what I said. C'est sous la précision automática. This phrase is a mix of Spanish and French. No, please spare me. I didn't say that. And the correct term for machine learning in French is l'apprentissage automatique. So it's like automatic apprentice. The French word for machine learning is automatic apprentice. You know, the funny thing is, this is one of the ways that I learn almost anything, that's learning by association. So now that I know, oh, to say machine learning in French, they basically see it as the automatic apprentice. So something that has to do with apprentice. And I'm not sure about the pronunciation very well. Anyway, I can just usually what I'll do, I'll go to Google and use machine learning in French. Then use the pronunciation here. Apprentissage automatique. Apprentissage. Sage. Automatique. Apprentissage automatique. Apprentissage automatique. Apprend. So the RE, apprentissage automatique. Apprentissage automatique. Interesting. Yeah, it is what it is. Apprentissage automatique. Okay, cool. Yeah, so basically, this is the diagnostic that we run. Ce n'est pas en le temps. Multiple errors. Incorrect verb être instead of avoir. Incorrect tense present instead of past participle, and incorrect preposition instead of e. Oh, okay. I mean, oh, ce n'est rien de prévu. Je n'ai rien de prévu. Incorrect subject and verb choice. Yeah, this is dope, really. Okay. So comfortable with salut, oui, très bien, et toi, et vous, au revoir. But work on this. So these are ones that I should work on. What is this? I mean, these things are wrong, no? So I think one of the challenges is that it's basically transcribing what I say and sending it. So let's prompt. Okay, first of all, we want to commit and push changes first before we try and break anything. But at least we it's good. It's good. I think the same problem we had with the Google AI one is what we have in here, where it's basically using the transcribed version of what I said. So if the browser got the transcription of what I said wrong, then the feedback is giving me doesn't really make sense. Okay. It looks like the feedback was on the transcript of what I said. I mean, what was transcribed from what I said than from my actual audio. Is that the case? Let me see. Okay, those phrases only see the saved transcript. User plus Camel things in the database. They never listen to your recording. Yeah, so that is the problem. The problem is that sometimes the transcripts are wrong and not match what I really said. Okay, part the problem. At least that's one of the things that I heard over and over and over. Part the problem. So that is not a problem. Part the problem. Part the problem. It's not a problem. Then je n'ai pas le temps. I hope that's what they said. I don't have time. Where is it? Je n'ai pas le temps. Je n'ai pas le temps. Le temps. Je n'ai pas le temps. Okay. Ooh. All right. So commit and push. Once you're done. Yeah, one best practice which I haven't been doing here would be when pushing to actually create branches and push from the branch and not be pushing directly to the main branch. It's so helpful, and especially if you're hosting on Vercel, when you push to any new branch, Vercel will automatically deploy that particular branch so you can test it out. So, yep, now we've been able to push to Vercel. Let's go to Vercel. Okay, this is on, let's find this Camille. Yeah, so it is publicly available. I mean, the code base, the entire code base that we've worked on this week is publicly available at this URL. Let me see if I can add that here. URL. Say link to code base. Yeah, so it is available at that URL. And see Camille beta.vessel.app. That's where the site is. You can create an account and use it. But I mean, I am definitely not putting my AI key behind this. So if you're curious on how to do it, you can come here and clone or fork. You can come here and fork. So you see something like this fork. I can't fork my own repo, but if you have a GitHub account, you can definitely go in there, fork it. Then once you fork it, make sure you have an account with Vessel. Create an account with Vessel and create a new project linked to GitHub and use that specific project. Then you would have to set your environment variables. As soon as you set your environment variables, which is if you set the AI keys, like the Google Gen AI API key, which you can get from the AI Studio. So you can get that from AI Studio. If you go to aistudio.google.com, you can come down here, get API key, and get some free API key and use. So you can, by doing that, you'll be able to get a copy of the entire application on your end for testing and learning purposes. That is the goal of these sessions. And I'm super, super excited that by Friday or in 5 days, we went from having no idea to having a working product that people can use. I mean, you can log in and use, speak French, and learn how to speak French and run diagnostic on what you are learning, which I think it's so so cool. So basically, I keep saying that AI has made this easy. Maybe not so. Maybe because I already know how to code and I know all of those things in my head. But I feel that even if someone didn't know it, it's just a matter of playing with these things and over time you figure some out. Because if you don't know it, once you start doing it, you start asking questions and you figure it out on the go. So I'd highly encourage anyone who is an inch curious about being able to build software to start exploring some of these, exploring the tools and learning how to build things. You can basically learn how to build by building. That is my primary philosophy. Like I learn how to do things by doing them. Because when you think back to when we were children, when we're children learning to do things, would usually just learn the thing. Like if I gave you a new toy and you didn't know how to use the toy as a child, I don't know if I can speak for every child. Like I don't know if it applies to every child, but someone like myself as a child, you don't need to tell me how to use the new toy that you gave me. Like I'll basically figure it out. I'll figure it out. And maybe in the process I'll end up breaking the thing. But then I learned from it. I remember there was one specific instance that, oh my goodness. This is interesting. Yeah. So I happened to be playing with my father's phone. I played with my father's phone a lot. And there's this, like all the settings in there. As a young person, I don't really understand everything like I'm seeing. And I saw change pin, something. I think I was trying to access something and it was asking me to enter pin. I didn't know. I just tried any peanut or tried another time, tried. I think on the third try, they now requested I entered PUK. I had no idea what those things were. I was just playing around and I entered the wrong PUK for several times and they blocked the SIM. It's like that was when I realized what had just happened. My father's SIM was blocked and I didn't know how to go tell my father. Oh my god. When he came back and he couldn't make calls, he was asking me. I said, "Oh, I have no idea. Like I don't know what has happened to the phone." My father called the office. I mean, he had to get another phone to call the office to find out, and they told him that, oh, somebody had entered the pin wrongly multiple times and also entered the PUK wrongly multiple times. So the card has been blocked forever. That was when I knew. That was when I knew that I was going to suffer today. But yeah, that's how curious I am about things. Just trying to figure things out, and it's the way I learn everything. Like I wouldn't wait for somebody to show me how to do it. And I know a lot of people are just scared and waiting for permission, waiting for somebody to say that, yeah, you're not qualified to do this thing, or you can now get started learning this thing, or they need an institution, like go to school to learn the thing. Meanwhile, the best way to learn these things is just do them, like play with them, treat these things as toys. Like the AI tools that are there are plenty of them, and depending on what you really want, there's so many things that you can do. So just get on to something, start playing with something, right? Like have fun. That's what I'm doing. It's Friday night for me, and I'm just having fun building stuff and learning things, stretching these things. What can AI do? What can it not do? Before the media comes to tell me, I'm already testing these things. I understand how they work. And yeah, pretty much. So that is my word of encouragement. This has been an awesome week. We've gone from having no idea to building a fully functional application. I'm super excited about it. We're going to end this week's stream, and God willing, next week, Monday, we'll start another stream. We'll come up with another idea. But if you have, I mean, I don't have any idea. I do all the thinking and planning on the stream so that you see in real time how that is going to happen. So if you have any idea and you have suggestions in terms of what you want us to build, feel free to comment it or share with me via the DMs, and I'm happy to take on a challenge of what you want me to build. But the constraints are that we're going to do the entire build in 1 week. So in 1 week, we'll start from scratch to finish, get a finished product. So we scope the features of the app that we're going to build so that we can finish it realistically in 1 week. And in fact, most people, when they don't give themselves those constraints, they end up overbuilding or over engineering, or they bloat the app with features. So there's always one new feature. In fact, it happens to the best of us. It happens to me, even in my startup, for instance. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, today we're going straight into these are the things that we want to build. But along the line, some new idea, shiny object comes up, and I'm like, oh, I want to try this. You spend the rest of the time trying to change after all the new things, but the good practice is to have or narrow your focus, set the features, have a time limit, and deliver it. Because this idea could have become like very bloated. We could have explored all the other features. And if you watch the first two streams where we're doing more of the ideation and features, coming up with features for the app, there were so many features that we could have built, but then we eventually settled on what is the minimum viable product. Because if you're building something, especially if you want it to get into the hands of users, then you want like the most viable, right? Most viable. So in this case, This is an app that should help you learn, should be able to give you feedback. That's all it is. Let's build just that. Beyond that, we can add on extra features. Like for instance, the vocabulary that was picked for from today's lesson. That if I didn't get certain things, we can document all of those things. It can be like a records of my vocabulary, the ones that I'm good with, the ones that I'm not good with. All these things are features that we can add on later. But if you decide that you're going to have all these features before you release the app, then you're going to end up bloating your app. Eventually, you realize people will use just certain parts, not interested in most of the part. So you want to focus on the primary feature that makes your product the real product, or the product that you truly want, or the one that solves the problem that you started out to solve. So I'm excited, looking forward to next week and see what we can build. And I hope that over this weekend you take off some time to learn something, build something, have fun, treat these things as toys that you're playing with. And that is how you make the best of the tools available. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the weekend and make sure you build something. I want to see you build something. Thank you and see you some other time. Next week, actually. All right. Bye bye. Bye bye. Come on. Right. Bye.
What did you do? No time, make we move now.